I'm very excited to have John with me here today. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hey.
John is actually in Arizona right now, but he will introduce himself in just a second. We have known each other for several years at this point. We've become good friends. I've always been deeply impressed by John's work, and so I thought it would be a really cool opportunity to talk to you and see what's been going on in your life. But before we get started, please quickly
Yeah,
introduce yourself.
absolutely. I'm Jonathan Wang. I am the founder and creative director of a digital design agency, headquartered in LA, but I'm actually in a satellite office in Tucson, Arizona. Briefly, this company was just a passion project of myself and the college buddy. And we started it 2000. Oh, actually, it's March. March just passed. Our 15-year anniversary just
Wow,
passed.
congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. So just, services include everything from branding to social media management, graphic design, print design, web design, anything that you would see in a marketing campaign or advertising campaign, we would probably put our hands on it.
That's super cool. I mean, yeah, all the work that you do, and anybody watching this video, I highly recommend you check out Eat Sleep Work. Their work is really just
Thank you, man.
amazing.
It's so kind.
So yeah, maybe tell me a little bit more about, what you have been doing. How has this past month been for you? What are some of the key challenges that you had to overcome?
Sure.
What are you dealing with, maybe work-wise, but also on a personal level?
Work-wise, like we talked about before we started recording, we're blessed to be a digital agency. Somehow in this, I want to call it a pandemic of sorts. We've been lucky enough to get more work, actually, because since we are digital, we're not brick and mortar. We've been, on average, probably per week, we've been picking up one new client per week. And we've been in-house, quarantined in-house. This would be week 4 for me. So starting week 4. Yeah.
So it's been the same for the both of us. We've been basically cooped up at home the exact same amount of time, just in completely different continents.
Right.
So maybe, to go a little bit more into the client side of things. So
sure.
Has their demand changed a little bit, or how are you dealing with your clients, and how are you helping them through this whole process?
Interestingly enough, a lot of old clients started calling and saying, hey, I've been wanting to work on this campaign, or I wanted to update my website, or I needed a refresh in my brand. And they've found that they've run into a chunk of time that they didn't have before. This quarantine kind of helped all of us kind of slow down and think, oh wait, I need to work on not just my day-to-day of my business, but also my marketing, my branding. And since they have time to kind of think about it, we've been getting phone calls from old clients like, hey, I need to work on something right now, and are you guys available? Are you guys open? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, we're open. Everyone's working from home, but we're completely open 100%. So yeah, it's been old clients and new clients, by the way. I did have 2 or 3 leads before the quarantine happened. And, not to my surprise, it was kind of the first alert that, hey, we can't, pull budget. We don't have enough money, or we're just worried that we'll run out of money. So the new clients have been pulling back. So I think if I were to focus on one insight out of this is, over the last 15 years, I think the most important thing has been just be kind to others and be a trustworthy resource. Because at the end of the day, I'm scrolling through Instagram, or I'm looking online, and I feel like, man, I'm not a good designer. There's so many good designers out there. But I think the big difference is that I call people back, or I respond to emails, or I take time to listen to the client, what are their needs, and what are their wants. I mean, sometimes I'm sitting there listening to a client and I'm working as their therapist. So I think the bottom line is, in any business, not just the design business, we have to focus on the relationships. And without that relationship, then I wouldn't have that client from 7 years ago calling and saying, hey, you remember me? I'm like, of course I remember you. And then we get into like, old times and starting a new project. And that's what is literally keeping us alive during this pandemic.
No,
Interesting, right?
it's, I honestly, so it's actually, I mentioned it before before we started this call or this interview. I've done now quite a lot of interviews in a very short amount of time. And what you're saying is a very common denominator that I keep seeing across most of the interviews. It's really, this is a time for being there for each other. And it's a
Right.
time for really, helping each other out and listening. And, obviously, ideally, we all do this already beforehand, and then it will, last that much longer. When actually really hard times hit, people know where they need to go to actually
Right.
get all the help. So, maybe going a little bit more deeply into that. So what are your plans for, Eat Sleep Work, and what do you want to do next? Where is the growth going to happen, and what are maybe
Mhm.
some cool projects that are coming up?
So right off the bat would be pre-quarantine. We had already been planning since November, December last year. We started to put an educational series together.
Mhm.
That's part one. That's kind of leveraging what both my business partner Chimmy and we both taught at Santa Monica College for their web design GD65 courses. So kind of leveraging that class and turning it into an online training. Or on, it's like little snippets. I find questions that I haven't found the answers to on Google even for as granular as how do I defer JavaScript so my page speed insights will load faster? And then you'll go through and you'll see all this stuff online and just little things that would help someone else. Like so many people have posted things online. I think it's time for us to finally give back. That's part one. That coincides with us giving back is our new branding. New logo, new colors, a little bit more friendly. For a long time, you see this logo. It's our whole look has been so dark, black backgrounds. Just maybe that's where I was uh, mentally and emotionally as a person at that time. But now living in Tucson, being a more happy person, having my family around me, I don't feel like this dark background, very stark black and white look is me anymore. I feel like I can be a more colorful person. I can be a kind person. I can give back to the community. I can just even like give back to friends and family. I think that's the new reinvented me. And obviously, since I'm a designer, then I want my work and my business to reflect that personality coming out. The next time you call me, I'm going to wear a pink t-shirt.
You send me one and I'll do the same.
Awesome. Awesome. So those are the two parts. I mean, they're obviously different, but I feel like they go hand in hand, we're trying to reach for a different audience. There was one thing I wanted to share, which was a quote by Paul Arden. He was one of the creative directors from Saatchi & Saatchi a long, long time ago. He had a quote, and I think it's something around the lines of, you don't need to hold on to all your ideas. You can share all of your ideas because all the ideas have already been done. That's one. But two, you will find that giving an idea away will make you also a richer and better person inside. This whole IP fight and this and that, it's unnecessary. And I think when we tried to roll out our own startup, do you remember Gizmo, the project management software, which actually we're going to relaunch shortly as side gigs, by the way.
Cool.
We should just give it away. Why? Because there's already QuickBooks and there's already all these tools like Harvest. We're just building a more simplified version, and if if it's already been done, it's already been done. You know, there's Microsoft and Apple. There's already computers out there, and yet they still continue to compete with each other. I think if there's more competition, it actually drives commerce. It drives innovation. If there's only one person who's doing the one thing, well, obviously means that not a lot of people will actually want it. And when you have competitors, it's showing the industry, not the industry, it's showing your audience, showing the world that there's a need for your business. I think a lot of startups need to think about that too. Like, are you in a space that's crowded? Good. But what's your value proposition that makes you so special, that makes you just slightly different from that? You know, do you remember back in the day when everyone said, well, it's the Yelp of something, Twitter plus Facebook plus, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Paul Arden quote is brilliant. I think giving ideas away is holding things in is almost like, if you're hoarding ideas all the time, then I don't know, you kind of box yourself in. It's been freeing to release information, you know, like, of course I want to share. I mean, for the first time I'm on Stack Overflow, like sharing information, like, hey, I know how to do this. Let me tell you guys how to do this. And I know I'm kind of late to the game, to the Stack Overflow thing, but like I've been someone who had hoarded ideas for a long time. I didn't want to share my ideas. I was afraid the next guy would steal it from me. That was when I came up with the black background.
No, I mean,
I was in a dark place.
Yeah, but I mean, you just brought up so many points, kind of blew my mind. I mean, all the stuff that you just brought up is just, it's so interesting because, first of all, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, obviously, we all as human beings are going through transformations, and of course, it will have an effect on your work. And I think the period that we're going through right now also will have an impact on our lives, and it will also lead to transformation, and it will also lead to change. And what you're sharing, and since this is targeted at small businesses and startups particularly, it's so essential that we keep this in mind, that, you know, I always tell the startups that I'm working with, do not be afraid to share your ideas, and do not be afraid to co-create even with the big.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, no, it's one of my key messages, because
really, I had no idea. That's so wild.
Yeah, so we definitely connected on that one as well. It's crazy. And
I love it.
Yeah, so because look, let's say I wake up and I go and take a shower. I have a great idea, right?
Yeah.
First of all, it's only going to matter what I'm going to do with that idea. And even if I share it with you, if I share my idea with you and you will start doing something with it, and then we meet again half a year later, what you will have done with it and what I will have done with it will have a completely different DNA, because we're different beings. So I can, you know, that's why I always tell the startups, share your ideas and ask people for advice, for help, for feedback. Get as much information as you possibly can, because it will help you shape. I mean, that's also the whole idea of design thinking, right? And then co-creation. Right now, I'm telling the startups and the small businesses, it's a David and Goliath situation, but actually in a positive sense, because you have the opportunity to now go out and talk to the big players and say, hey, I'm here to help. And going back to the very first point, I'm here to help. I have a lot of creativity. I'm small. And I can help you execute on your ideas. And the startups that are doing this right now actually are the ones that are starting to thrive again, because the partners are reaching out to them. So right back to your first point that you made. So cool.
These are all things I've experienced, and in good and bad ways. These are the lessons I've learned. I wish I had somebody like a mentor, like a Paul Arden, or a, you know, somebody. But I also know my personality. I'm stubborn, so I probably wouldn't have listened anyways. I needed to go through the last 15 years and experience the bad and experience the good in order to tell my story. I'll have better stories 15 years from now. You know, I'll just keep learning, trying, doing, failing, maybe succeeding. You know, I think I told you years ago, I think my track record has been 1 out of 10. So you just have to keep churning those ideas.
Yeah. 1 out of 10. I mean, that's perfectly normal. I think, you know, if we are being honest, most startups exactly are going through that kind of a track record anyways. And it's the same for ideas, right? And it's so important to share that, especially in this time where we feel like we're living in this kind of like times of perfectionism. People want to make it perfect, and they want to, you know, bring out, you know, all these amazing ideas, and it all has to be finished and completed by the time it comes out. And that's just not reality. I mean, of course, if you're lucky enough, you will hit the jackpot and it will work out. But even then, you're going through massive transformation in the process. So this is why I'm such a big fan of, you know, all these lean startup methodologies, because you have to be flexible and it will change anyways.
Right. You're talking about lean startup, huh? Got a lean startup right here.
Eric Ries.
Yes. Yeah, and lean UX too.
Lean UX is great as well. There's so many good books about this stuff out there, but Eric Ries is definitely, amazing.
Right. Now it's 2020. He's an old man now, but he's like the godfather of lean.
Absolutely. So listen, we are almost at the end of this interview already.
Yeah.
You know, maybe to end it at a fun note. You know,
you want a fun note? You want to hold on for 1 second?
Tell me.
I'm gonna get the baby.
Oh yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. Do you want to see my friend? You do?
Oh my God! Hello. Hi.
Hey, hello.
How is he going?
Hi, Alessandro. He's 2.
He's 2. What's his name?
Winston.
Hey, Winston.
Winston Oliver. Winston Oliver Wang. So his initials are WOW.
I'm not surprised. Come on, with a dad like that, that's awesome. Winston, how's he going? He's so cute.
He's so busy. He's so busy.
What are you eating? Apples?
You are?
Well, so maybe that leads me to my last question.
Yes.
How's guys holding up at home?
I'm gonna be, because we're being recorded, I'm gonna be completely honest. The brunt and the time with the kids is mostly on my wife, and God bless her. She's been printing worksheets. She's been coaching them. She put them on a schedule. They're doing outside time, you know, and watching this guy. For me, I've been sprinting through projects. Then I'll pop out, and then I'll pop back in, and then we'll, you know, at least we're trying to have meals together. You know, at least sitting down and having meals together. But it's just time management, right? It's time management, but it's also like employees. It's also personality management too.
Yeah.
So this guy had an off day yesterday, but it seems like today he's a lot better. So
seems to be in a very good mood.
Yeah.
Well, it's very cool to see that you guys are, you know, holding together that strongly, and that you're supporting each other. And I think in the end, I think there's no right or wrong. It's about figuring out a system that works for the whole family and how to keep together, right?
Right.
And was so cute. Well, I very much hope that I get to meet, you know, him in person soon, and we get to see each other again very soon.
You know, if I'm going to visit you,
I'm
not bringing this guy.
All right. Well, to end the interview, and we should keep talking though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say goodbye. And
okay. Bye bye.
John and Winston.
Bye bye.
Winston, right?
Yeah, Winston.
Winston. Bye, Winston.
Poke.
Poke.
Bye bye.
Bye.